comes to climate change, we now need 3 chairs on this stage. Is somebody coming to help me? I'm not quite sure. Oh, there he is. And we do need Chris Sheridan. Welcome. Who of you doesn't know him? Is there anybody who... So I don't have to say anything about you, right? How are you? Yeah? You enjoying CloudFest 2018?
I am.
You are?
I am.
Good
yeah,
for
it's
you.
going really good. My 6th one.
And we're going to enjoy your panel discussion right now.
Yes, we have 2 good panelists joining.
Much.
Great. Why don't my panelists come on up, and we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, thank you. Great. Well, thanks, everybody. Please have a seat, guys. For joining today. My name is Chris Sheridan. I run the Weebly Cloud platform. It's our reseller channel for our Weebly.com business. Today, I have 2 panelists and partners from Weebly that I wanted to bring up to the stage to talk about some changes that we're seeing in the marketplace that are being driven by entrepreneurs. And these changes are changing our perspective at Weebly about growth and how we're marketing to entrepreneurs and the type of services we're offering. And I wanted to invite 2 partners, one that represents our web hosting channel and close partner, Brett Tackaberry from Rebel. And then on the app side, some of the app work we're doing and kind of some of the usage we're seeing there with Ricardo Lasa, so from SiteWit. So before we get started, Brett, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. I'm Brett Tackaberry. I'm the Director of Technology at Rebel.com. We're a hosting company and registrar.
Great.
Hi, I'm Ricardo Lasa. I'm the CEO and co-founder of SiteWit, and we're the leading paid marketing platform for small businesses. We do Google AdWords, shopping, and retargeting.
Very good. Well, guys, thanks again for joining. So let me begin with just kind of to set the tone here. Weebly was founded in 2007. For the first 10 years of our business, we've kind of looked at the business as catering to people to get their presence online. And that was like the standard bundle: domain, hosting, and of course the website. But the next 10 years, we actually think the business is changing. And the difference is it's not necessarily wanting to get online to simply have my web presence, but really wanting to transact. So I thought before we get into that 100%, let's just begin with a number. One of the things we focus on a lot is research. In North America, we see about 48% of SMBs offline. And maybe just to begin with you, Brett, at Rebel.com, when you think about the website business, when you think about catering to entrepreneurs, do you see the market as that big, that there's that huge of an opportunity of offline customers right now to bring online at Rebel and offer your services?
Yeah, I'd even add too, there's a greater audience that's underserved too, because it's all the businesses we know about, but there's all the ideas and the side businesses, the side hustles too. I mean, so it's not only just that it's underserved, but there's a lot more opportunity too on top of that.
Yeah. And Ricardo, on your side, on the SiteWit side?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from some of the big surveys we've conducted in very large partnerships, about 90% of the small businesses want to be found on Google. They actually think it's really important to their core of growth to their business. But actually, less than 8% are doing any type of marketing whatsoever. So the gap on our side, the gap on actually marketing is even larger. It's not like a 50% gap. It's almost closer to like a 70, 75% or more of companies that actually know that they need to be doing digital marketing, and they're not doing it.
Yeah. This is something we 100% agree with at Weebly, that the market is very big. And I think the interesting thing about the market is this is not about stealing market share from Wix or Squarespace. It's actually just about converting your fair share of these offline folks. However, to your point, the advertising product is a huge converter for us, which is actually how we intersected. And I wonder, Brett, from your side as a web host that sells a lot of products, do you guys look at the business that way? That there's, like you said, I have this idea, I want to get it online, and then what is like the kind of like natural thought process for you guys, like in terms of upselling them once they get that website with Rebel, you know?
So the process then is to help them to utilize it, to get them to, like sometimes it's, you know, they get the idea and they buy the domain name and, you know, they start the page. But then we want to make sure that they use it and they publish it, and they take that one page and make it into a few pages, or turn that one page and turn it into a store and actually make something of it. And so, you know, a lot of what we try to do is help the users through education and some, you know, support to help them use it, get the most out of it. And because for them, it's about getting it online, right? And or the other jobs that are supported by doing that. But it's we try to help them to utilize it as best as they can.
Yeah. And the utilization is very key, because there are two types of website customers, as we know. There's people that go to a web host, they buy a website, but they never publish it.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, what I see really changing in the registrar community, the domain registrars, the web hosts, is this very big emphasis on activation. People using the site, and that's a natural kind of focus, I think, from like a web host, because that leads to better domain registrations, that leads to using a domain, that leads to business class email. But I think, Ricardo, you know, to your point, I still think this advertising opportunity is still very unknown right now, you know?
Sure.
So before we get to that, just one other question for you, Brett. One of the big things we're always asked at Weebly is Facebook like a threat for your guys' business, right?
Yeah.
You know, why do people need a website today? Why should they go to Rebel? Why should they buy a domain? They can do everything on Twitter or Facebook. And I'm just curious, like, what Rebel's opinion is on that. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think that is actually taking market share away, or do you feel like that's not as big an issue?
It's taking some folks may choose to use Facebook instead of a website at all, and that's good. That's going to work for them. But perhaps they would have learned that a website wasn't successful for them to begin with, and wouldn't have been sticky at all. But it's another channel, and I think that our users need to understand all the channels, sometimes they work together, and perhaps the answer is to have a smaller site, a domain name, but then have a Facebook sort of page as well. But really, Facebook might come and go. And sure, you have to make hay when it's popular and where everyone is. But a site is a good sort of basis to start off with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 50% opportunity, not necessarily stealing market share, a lot of opportunity for registrars, a lot of opportunity for SEM services like yourself. We would agree that we don't necessarily see the social media sites as direct competitors to us, but more complementary to us. But that kind of, I think we know, that kind of brings me to the second part of this discussion, which is, for 10 years, Weebly's been very focused on helping people build their web presence, get online. Now we see a much larger resurgence with e-commerce. And so this year, we actually are moving we're moving very hard in e-commerce. We are positioning Weebly now as an e-commerce platform. And we see a lot of opportunity in that space. So I wanted to kind of talk to both of you about your perceptions of e-commerce. So maybe let's start with you, Ricardo. We're obviously working very closely with you. I think one of the interesting things about the e-commerce customer, two things: much higher ARPU. Typically start with 1 or 2 or 3 products, get some confidence, and then typically start to realize services like yourself that help them bring sellers to the equation, right? And that's what I would love to get your perspective on, is if I'm a web host and I'm providing the website and I'm now getting into e-commerce, where do you guys fit into that equation?
Sure. So one, I completely agree with you, Chris, that the conversions are much higher because past the initial stage of building an online store, when they actually started doing business online, right, they realized that driving traffic to the store is the lifeblood of the business, right? So they do understand they're actually more educated customers, and they tend to already have a deeper knowledge of marketing and how important marketing is. So they're already much more educated in marketing from the get-go. On our side, what we have done in very similar manner as Weebly, and SiteWit also is aligning very closely to e-commerce. So we just launched a Google Shopping product, that does gets rid of all the merchant center acquisition problems and makes it completely seamless to the end user, and then integrates directly into the online store platforms like yours. So, for example, the end user doesn't need to really worry much at all how to do this. They just have to say, okay, I want to advertise in this region, and I want to advertise these product categories that are coming directly from your store, for example.
Yeah.
And then we do all the heavy lifting behind the scenes to make that happen. And then we do all the attributions, all the revenue computations, all the order computations, and and all the optimization. So I think the end business owners in e-commerce are more sophisticated, getting more sophisticated, and definitely are very receptive to good business tools. Whether it's just on the search side with Google Shopping or retargeting, for example, or even store stats. We do a lot of advanced e-commerce stats on our platform, and that's something that they're very interested in.
Yeah. No, that's great. And Brett, on your side, how do you guys look at the e-commerce opportunity? Because obviously Rebel's been in this business for a long time. How do you guys agree that you kind of see the market going more towards this is going to become a larger part of your business, servicing this e-commerce entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's an opportunity. It's a market that's underserved.
Yeah.
And so what we've seen is the site builder and Weebly in particular is really well catered to helping our customers do their job or get a job done. And if the opening packages are about smaller jobs to be done, whether it's events or landing pages or small product landing pages, personal sites. The next plan up, and what's interesting here is we're seeing almost just two camps.
Okay.
And so the e-commerce camp, they all get one package, and they all have the pro package, and they all have a fair amount of products. But the job to be done there is just to get their small, medium-sized business selling stuff. And so, and a lot of them have more than one or two products. They've gone to the point of launching a store, so they have 10, 15, 20 products. And so what we're seeing is almost like two full camps of people that don't need e-commerce and then people that need e-commerce. And so they're able to very easily make that jump to selling online. And I think it's them getting some sort of signal from what we're doing to start selling. And then once it open, the floodgates are open, and they're now savvy and they're now enabled. And so I think that's we're seeing that's the trend that we're seing. Yeah.
The interesting thing that you're bringing up, I think, is we kind of see like a shift in marketing right now among the hosting space. So I'm curious, you guys, obviously you're knee deep in the space, you work with a lot of hosting companies. I would say like traditionally, cheap domains were the way this marketing was getting done, right? GoDaddy, 99-cent domains. We don't lead with domains at Weebly, obviously we're leading with the website. But then like recently you see GoDaddy get very serious about GoCentral, their website offering. And then you see DreamHost decides to build their own website product, Remixer. So I'm just curious, from your guys' perspective, these products seem to be taking a larger share of the marketing dollars from these pretty big known brands, DreamHost, GoDaddy, I can name a whole bunch of other folks that are getting way more serious about the website. Do you agree with that? Do you see kind of like domains kind of going down, or maybe getting less of the marketing dollars, and it's really going to be about selling the most robust website offering at the end of the day?
Yeah, and that's what that's what we're going through right now, right?
That's what Rebel's going through.
Rebel's going through this change of being 20 years in the registrar game, rather domain name first, and then selling the hosting products to make it more sticky. Now we're pivoting and selling selling the website, the hosting company first, and then the domains that you need to go along with it. So it's even like if the domain's a part of it, it's part of the bundle. But it's all about helping the customer get through the transition that they're going through or get their job done. And it's usually not buying a domain name. A domain name helps them, it's a part of it, but it's a task, it's an activity, but it's not the final goal. They're not in business to own domain names or own hosting, or small or large. They need to host an event, or they need to sell a product.
Right.
And so that's what we're focusing on. And to do that, we've had to switch to focusing on the hosting on, on the website.
Yeah, and I got to believe that this trend is great for you because there's more of these very well-known hosting companies, big brands, have lots of customers, very successful, DreamHost, GoDaddy, for example. Though that transition to catering directly to the entrepreneur and giving them a great website that has e-commerce functionality, that's what they're doing. They're providing the tool to sell, but you're driving the eyeballs to the website, right? Yeah. So, can you speak to that a little bit? Like, is the interest in SiteWit and the recognition of kind of like your value prop getting stronger now?
Sure. Actually, I think what you were mentioning about the platform itself being kind of the center of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I would take it a step further, and it's a stack of great platforms.
Yeah.
So the end business owner needs a great website platform, a great e-commerce platform. They need a great marketing platform. They need a great security platform. Mm-hmm. So I think that as the industry evolves forward, it's going to be about getting the best platforms together, interacting seamlessly. So the end business owner can have a one-stop shop where everything works perfectly, and it's best of breed in the different sections.
Yeah. This is what we're rolling, well, I don't want to say rolling the dice, it's probably a bad analogy for Weebly. But the real world, if you wanted to see today, kind of like where we're making our mark and changing our marketing direction right now is Weebly homepage is now split in half. So we have, do you want a store? Now you go down a new funnel. Do you want a retail website with just like, for example, the domain name offering, and that's all you're really looking for? You go down a separate angle, right? Separate funnel. So we really believe that the type of e-commerce customer, I think, is important too, because we kind of see the market going to the makers, the entrepreneurs that actually are building a physical product. And we think that the physical product entrepreneur, that is the most beneficial to a rebel.com. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the type of, our thesis would be that it's the most beneficial person for, that would leverage SiteWit type services for Google Shop and obviously SEM tools and stuff like that. But what we're not really catering to is like the digital services side, right? So we want to really focus on that. So I know we're kind of getting close to the end of our time here, but maybe just talk about two more things. When you guys look like 2 or 3 years down the road, so if we're all in agreement that this entrepreneur is a more meaningful customer to web hosts, it's a higher ARPU customer to web hosts, they have a better appreciation for other tools like SEM. Everybody can do that. Everybody could go out and sell a website. They can sign up with a website provider. They can get their SEM partner. What differentiates like a rebel.com, which is, say, Brett, 2 to 3 years from now, versus the other guys selling the exact same services, more or less? Yeah.
It's helping the customer find the value in that tool and get the most out of it. And so, what we've done in the last year or so is added, migration services, added one-on-one assistance, set up kind of that Apple Genius Bar approach where they can, set up an appointment and to really help the user get the most out of their services with us. And, that's where we find the stickiest customers. Then on top of that, we find that customers want, to work with a brand or a company that they can identify with, that they like, they think is, fits what they're trying to do too. So we spent so much effort on our culture and our brand over the last 5 years, and it's starting to pay off. We can feel the customers coming to us because they want to be part of our ecosystem. And so those are the 3 things. It's not about the new features or the biggest or the fastest or making the better camera. We want to make our customers better photographers. That's really what we're focusing on. Yeah.
The service is definitely an interesting thing you're bringing up because now that Weebly has made this significant change and for us to really start leading with e-commerce and positioning ourselves as an e-commerce platform, that involves more hand-holding, right? So we're kind of also making this transition from just being a DIY provider, do it yourself, to being a little bit more involved in helping them activate and get that store going and start being successful, et cetera. And what about on your side, Ricardo, 2 to 3 years from now, what's going to differentiate you guys?
Sure. So I think to us is we always start at the end. So we start at the end customer. Right?
Yeah.
And to provide the most powerful, so most effective and easiest user experience, or let's call it business experience, because really it's allowing their business to be effective, right? And to us strategically, what that means, if we take a step backwards, is that we have to work absolutely seamlessly with our partners. And by that I mean the website, e-commerce side, all the way to the Googles of the world, right? So we have a very deep relationship. It's almost like kind of like a little bit of a three-way, like, you know, I'm trying to find the proper word for that. But, so we're in the sandwich in the middle somewhere. But but it's you know, so on one hand, we're always at the cutting edge of leveraging our own platform, which, you know, we have a ton of proprietary IP behind the scenes, like for the optimization, analytics, and so forth. Leverage that, also the latest Google and other partners' platforms, and then our website platform partners into a completely seamless experience. So, for example, when you go on Google Shopping on us, it's just 4 clicks, but behind the scenes, it's a massive undertaking that, you know, links your stuff to our stuff to Google.
Right.
And I think that's our goal is to be the best integrated solution at a partner stack to the end user, where like they really believe, wow, it's unbelievable. And if they ever wonder, sometimes it happens to us, they go, okay, well, I'm going to try to do it on my own. Okay, go ahead. They come right back and they go, whoa, I didn't realize how difficult it was. Right?
Well, and that's what makes Rebel more sticky down the road, because you know you're involved in that business and you're helping advise the customers and support them. I think I appreciate that insight. I think the last thing I'll say is, leading up to this change for our business, you know, we manage 45 million end users today. Our channel business is very important to us. Very important to us. It allows us to work deeper with folks like yourself. And we conducted a survey about the perception of domains and websites. And your kind of thought process about what I want as a consumer is actually they don't think of it as a domain. They say, I want a website. That's the end result, right? To take that one, and that helps our personal blog, personal website business. Yeah. When we do the study on the e-commerce customers, very interesting feedback. They look at things like channels. Yeah. So they say, Facebook is a channel that I manage. eBay is a channel that I manage. I think this is kind of getting to your point. Amazon is a channel that I manage. But the overwhelming feedback was the website, my personal website, actually my store, I should say, my website store is the central dashboard, right? And I think part of the feedback was driven by, hey, Facebook changed the rules. And my sales went down. And there's this kind of recognition occurring right now that the website is a place where I actually control my brand. And the website doesn't change. These other things might change, but when I get my website from Rebel, I have great support, and that will always be a constant. Yeah. But Amazon might change, Facebook might change, and then you're helping them through all these changes, obviously, through the marketing. Well, we could talk a lot longer about this. I think the short story is the website is becoming a very strategic product. Whether you're partnering with Weebly or not, that's clearly the direction the industry is going to the website, and of course, driving eyeballs to the website, I think, is gaining a lot more importance. I want to thank you both for joining me. I want to thank everybody for attending today, and have a great CloudFest. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Brett, Ricardo, Chris.
Ricardo, thank you. Brett?
For this, sorry, I have to pick this up for this threesome. Thank you.